Listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello and welcome to Around Our Area. It's a weekly look at community newspapers from around Western New York. Your reader this hour is Chuck Stevens. Let's begin with the Amherst Bee, as Lavin takes the helm in Amherst. So after 8 years with former Supervisor Brian Culpa, the town of Amherst is officially under new leadership with Supervisor Sean Lavin. Lavin was sworn into the town's top post on Saturday at Amherst Town Hall, along with new town board members John Davis and Jack Kavanaugh, in a history-making swearing-in ceremony. Davis is the first African-American town board member in the history of the town. Lavin said he was very excited for this next chapter for himself and the town, and looks forward to many aspects of the job. I did not compute just how happy I would be when you get something over the finish line, Lavin said. Like Willowdale Park, for example. The fence that has surrounded that area will finally be coming down, and it will be something for residents to enjoy for generations to come. He was first elected to the Amherst Town Board in 2017, after serving on the Amherst Employee Suggestion Committee, begun by former councilmember Deborah Birch Buckeye. Lavin earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Buffalo State University. After graduation, he joined the Air National Guard. Over the past 21 years, he earned the rank of major and has played a significant role in emergency response efforts, including deployments to New York City during the COVID-19 pandemic and North Carolina during the catastrophic flooding caused by Hurricane Helen. While serving in the Air National Guard, he furthered his education by earning a master's degree in public administration from SUNY Brockport. Following that, he began his civilian career in the private sector, spending 11 years at Paychex in Rochester, a payroll, HR, and benefits solution provider for small businesses. Originally from the city of Tonawanda, Lavin and his wife Kate moved to Amherst 12 years ago, and the couple has 2 children. He has been an employee of Erie County since 2010, serving as an investigator in the Medicaid Anti-Fraud Unit, helping uncover fraud, waste, and abuse. He previously served as the Director of Veterans Affairs and is the current Deputy Commissioner of Personnel. Since serving 2 terms on the Amherst Town Board, including as Deputy Supervisor, Lavin has made streamlining government bureaucracy a priority as Supervisor. I think I was just so surprised learning how long everything takes, Lavin said. I'm a firm believer in streamlining processes. I've been frustrated by the hurdles in the permit process and planning approval process. I want Amherst to be an example for other towns. Some of his accomplishments while serving as a town board member included advocating for veterans by spearheading the establishment of Purple Heart parking at all Amherst municipal buildings, ensuring greater recognition and convenience for Purple Heart recipients. Protecting domestic violence victims by streamlining the domestic incident report process for law enforcement officers, improving compliance with state reporting requirements while saving valuable time during emergency responses. Enhancing community spaces by securing funding for a new playground along Tonawanda Creek, creating a safe and enjoyable space for local families. Promoting fiscal transparency, with his most significant legislative accomplishment being the Transparency in Budget Process Law, which opened up Amherst's budget process. The initiative has empowered residents with a stronger voice in spending their tax dollars, ensuring greater accountability and transparency in local government. Lavin said he wants to work with anyone who has an idea to make a positive impact on the town. I'm going to work with anybody who wants to make Amherst a better place, Lavin said. In a follow-up story from the Amherst Bee, the Amherst Town Board holds a reorganization meeting. A new era dawned for Amherst Town Board Monday when newly elected Supervisor Sean Lavin took the helm for the board's reorganizational meeting. Lavin is replacing former Supervisor Brian Culpa, who could not seek election after having served 2 consecutive terms as the top official in the town. The Amherst Town Board also welcomed 2 new board members, John Davis and Jack Kavanaugh, to join council member Michael Sizalka and newly named Deputy Supervisor Angela Marinucci. I can't tell you how excited I am to be working with this new town board, Lavin said. Prior to the first public expression during the meeting Monday, Lavin made it clear that it was not going to be business as usual as far as residents' behavior during past public expression sessions under the previous administration. There may be a little change in what occurred with the prior board, Lavin said. This is the public's opportunity to speak to the board. It's not an engagement, it's not a debate. Anyone who comes to the podium is given 3 minutes to speak about whatever they consider is important to this town. It's imperative that the board listens to those concerns, but I don't consider public expression to be a debate back and forth. This is not a forum for a debate, but we are always encouraging expression and we want to hear it. I can and will not tolerate anyone who is disrespectful to our neighbors at the podium. Everyone speaking at the podium deserves respect, so we're going to operate with decorum in these chambers. Lavin stressed that he will not tolerate audience members yelling, insulting, shouting, or jeering from the audience. The board held its reorganization meeting and made several appointments, including Stephen Bengart being reappointed as town attorney, Jessica O'Neill as the chief of staff, and Megan Winnert as the executive assistant to the supervisor. Jeffrey Burrows was reappointed as the town engineer. Bengart was appointed parliamentarian for the town. Mark Berkey was reappointed as the town's energy manager. The Village of Williamsville Historical Society and the Buffalo Niagara Heritage Village were named the town historians. The Amherst Bee and or the Buffalo News were named the official newspaper for the town. The town board reappointed Michael Schmiel to the Amherst Planning Board for a term to conclude December 31st, 2032, and also appointed Mike Hogan for a term to conclude December 31st, 2030. The board also approved salaries for exempt employees, which are listed on the board's meeting agenda on the town's website. Some examples of the exempt employees' salaries for department heads for 2026 include the town attorney at $168,054.88, the director of youth and rec at $133,618.24, and the director of senior services at $119,675.99. The position of chief of staff is not listed in the budget. Resident Joe Vodovich said, "It's $116,000, and the supervisor makes less than that. And the secretary to the supervisor, it seems like people are being shifted around to get more money. We need to start saving money and not spending it." The next Amherst Town Board meeting will be 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 20th. In other Amherst Town Board news, the Town of Amherst Planning Board held a public hearing regarding a proposed place of worship at 2345 North French Road back on November 20th. During the public hearing, several residents from Hopkins and North French Roads voiced their concerns and disapproval of the proposal. The proposed place of worship, called Gurdwala Nanaksar Ishnar Darbar, is a Gurdwara redevelopment design for the Sikh community of Amherst. The current proposal has the property located at the corner of Hopkins and North French Roads being reutilized into a one-story, 6,500 square foot building. Since the hearing, many Amherst residents have come forward to disapprove the change, including Mark Basehart, a North French Road resident, who is directly impacted by the planning changes. One thing I want to make very clear is that this is not an issue with the religion or the culture, said Basehart. There are a lot of issues that will be brought up from a neighborhood standpoint and a traffic standpoint if this is to go through, and we're trying to bring light to those issues. According to the current plan, there will be 4 ways to enter the parking lot, with 3 of those ways involving left turns. Additionally, there would be 34 parking spots available for the entire building. With all of these single-lane roads, having left turns is going to cause so many issues, with this being at the corner, said Basehart. With all of the traffic going into the parking lot mixed with the regular traffic and the school zone, there's going to be so much backed-up traffic and issues that come from all of this. In addition to potential traffic issues, the actual structure itself also raises concern in nearby residents, with the design potentially standing out in the fully residential area. Despite being a 1-story building, the plans list the proposed height of the project at a maximum 28 feet, featuring a parapet that reaches 23 feet. One of the reasons people live in this neighborhood is because of its calm and wooded feeling, and this just seems so out of place, said Basehart. Structurally, it is unlike any other building in the neighborhood, and with it being at the corner of the street, it would really stick out. Several residents have expressed concern with their property value decreasing due to its proximity to the planned site. I know people who would have their driveway impacted by this building, said Basehart. With this building being made essentially in our backyards, we're afraid that our homes will decrease in value, which could potentially lead to people preemptively leaving the neighborhood before it even happens. To gain some traction on disputing the plans, Basehart, as well as several other nearby residents, have started a petition of residents of Hopkins and North French roads so more people can be behind the movement. Over 30 residents have signed on so far. We know that realistically there isn't a whole lot we can do with this plan, said Basehart. We truly feel like this simply isn't the right location for this to be in. We want the issues that will come up to be addressed and prevented. Since starting the petition, Basehart has been in close communication with town officials to exchange ideas and information regarding the project. For more information on the residents' perspective of the proposal, contact Basehart at mcbasehart@aol.com. Also from the Amherst Bee, increased number of phishing email scams reported in the town of Amherst over the past month or so. The town of Amherst has seen an increased amount of phishing email scams towards residents. These scams have been stated to use the town of Amherst Planning Department's information, including employee names and the town's official seal, to impersonate the department. While impersonating the planning department, the persons involved in the scam attempt to require payments for non-existing fees via email. Since this is an ongoing investigation, police were unable to comment on the subject. However, the town has urged its residents to be careful to avoid scams. According to the Federal Trade Commission, there are 4 major signs that you're dealing with a potential scam. In many cases, scammers pretend to be from a known organization, say there is a prize or a problem, pressure you to act immediately, and tell you to pay in a very specific way. If you've seen any messages or have been contacted in any way reflecting any of these signs, it's important to take the correct precautions to avoid being scammed. There are many ways that the FTC recommends to avoid potential scams in the event you've been contacted. First and foremost, block any unwanted calls and text messages that you've received from unknown individuals. If you have begun to engage with the scam, be sure to not give out any personal or financial information to unexpected messages. Additionally, do not click on any links that may have been shared through the messages. Lastly, when dealing with a scam, resist the urge to act immediately on the messages, and take the time to learn about the ways the scammers want you to pay. If unsure in the moment, stop and talk to someone to trust for guidance in the issue. For any additional information on the scams occurring in Amherst, call 716-630-7032. If you feel you've been a victim to a scam, contact Amherst PD 716-689-1311 to report it. You're listening to Around Our Area, right here on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And let's shift over right now to the Clarence Bee. The Clarence Youth Bureau partners with Arts for Learning, Western New York for special education workshops. After a successful year of art workshops and classes, the Clarence Youth Bureau is entering another year of teaching art to the youth in coordination with Arts for Learning, Western New York, and the Daniel C. and Beatrice M. Fisher Fund. The Fisher Fund is designed for social, professional, and civic nonprofits of Western New York, with a focus on the town of Clarence. Each year, organizations can apply for grants through the fund, and Arts for Learning has been one of those organizations for several years. Arts for Learning Western New York is a nonprofit arts education organization whose mission is to inspire, expand learning, and strengthening the community through engagement with the arts. With the Fisher Fund, Arts for Learning received roughly $12,000 in grant funds that go straight towards art programming at the Youth Bureau. We chose the teaching artist and the programming that we would like to see here in our community, said Town of Clarence Youth Bureau Executive Director Dawn Kinney. That money goes directly to the artists, their supplies, their travels, or whatever it costs to bring them out to the community to perform and provide the workshops and the classes they do. Throughout the course of the year, the Youth Bureau hosts many different workshops that could involve art, including making crafts, playing music, or learning how to paint or draw. As a part of the art programming, the Youth Bureau hosts classes with special education students at the high school and middle school, with each class having a different theme. We partnered with the high school and the middle school and worked with the special education teachers to figure out which workshops we thought the students would benefit the most from, said Kinney. It is really a way to bring out everyone's creativity in various art forms, and it's really cool to see. Examples of themes from these classes include yoga, drumming, clay animal creations, watercolor painting, glass art, ornaments, and sun catchers. Each year, the two schools have 5 different classes scheduled respectively. The classes for the high school are planned for January 27th, February 10th, March 17th, April 21st, and May 19th. The classes for the middle school are yet to be scheduled. It is really a great partnership with the schools, said Kinney. We have a nice lineup of workshops coming up, and I'm excited to see how much all of the students enjoy it. With so many workshops and classes scheduled and planned for the year, the Youth Bureau's partnership with Arts for Learning is once again proving just how valuable art education can be in the community. It means a lot that they specifically reached out to us for the grant that they received, said Kinney. The artists have been so professional and so wonderful with the students. There's a lot of diversity as far as interests and abilities go, and these artists bring out the creative spark in everybody. Next from the Clarence Bee, senior dogs bring Christmas cheer to Sacred Heart Home. A fluffy 4-legged parade brought Christmas cheer to the Brothers of Mercy Sacred Heart Home in December, as White Whiskers Senior Dog Sanctuary coordinated a visit to the assisted living residents and memory care patients on December 20th. I thought it was one of the nicest Christmas things, said Beverly Kafas, who lives in the assisted living section of the building. Approximately 15 dogs, decked out in Christmas apparel, participated in the parade, from little teacup dogs to slender greyhounds to big Newfoundlands and St. Bernards. Many belonged to White Whiskers volunteers, while some came directly from the sanctuary and others from Buffalo Greyhound. A couple of residents finally spoke of a little dog riding in a decorated buggy, while resident Marion Fox expressed her joy at seeing the bigger dogs and huskies in particular. The best thing about it was when the big dog put his nose on my knee, she said, adding that she would love to see a repeat of the dog parade. It's a great idea. Resident Linda Steinborn also had a great love for the larger dogs and was surprised at the number of pups that showed up. I thought there were going to be 4 or 5 dogs, she said. This lady at White Whiskers takes in the aged dogs, older dogs that nobody wants. I think it's wonderful. She takes them in until the end of life, I guess. It's got a nice backyard at the sanctuary, and I think she's doing a wonderful job. Kafaz and her husband Jack were impressed with the dog's good behavior, noting that there was not a single growl or jump despite the large number of dogs present. We've been dog people for most of our lives, Jack added. Those dogs were happy to see the people there. I think probably many of them came from older people who had to give them up. In addition to the feel-good moments with the dogs and handlers, the parade also provided an opportunity for residents to interact with each other and connect with their neighbors. I enjoy sitting outside with my niece and the new neighbor, and that made us get together and talk with her and see what her name was and all that sort of thing. So she talked back and forth, and we got to know her a little better, said resident Agnes Sarajo. Several residents expressed hopes for a repeat of the parade, and Milligan plans to grant that wish by holding the event again next year. White Whiskers plans to maintain a strong effort on outreach at senior facilities, and White Whiskers founder Paula Milligan encouraged any facilities that would like a visit to contact the sanctuary 716-713-1093. The parade is such a feel-good endeavor for our volunteers, for the residents, and for the dogs, Milligan said. We chose Brothers of Mercy first because of its welcoming staff and its proximity to our sanctuary. The very best part of the day was the reception we received. The residents just loved petting and cuddling the pups, and I think they enjoyed talking to the dog handlers as well. Milligan also expressed her gratitude to the Erie County Sheriff, who lent Deputy Jason Pulo as the dogs and handlers escort between the sanctuary and Sacred Heart Home. What a great idea. Let's check in now with Clarence Town Supervisor, 2025, a year of progress and achievement in the town of Clarence. The town of Clarence made meaningful strides throughout 2025. This is from Patrick Casilio, Town of Clarence Supervisor, with significant accomplishments that strengthened public safety, expanded recreational opportunities, supported economic development, and enhanced overall quality of life for residents. One of the most visible areas of progress was the continued investment in Clarence's parks system. Major improvements moved forward at Vogelsanger Park, where the new pavilion opened and upgraded playing surfaces were completed, providing expanded recreational spaces for families, athletes, and community groups. Town Place Park also saw significant upgrades, including a new pavilion and playing surfaces that were extensively used throughout the spring, summer, and fall. These investments reinforce Clarence's reputation for maintaining one of the strongest park systems in Erie County. Trail connectivity was another major achievement in 2025, with the completion of the Northwind Trail extension through New York State grant funding. Residents gained safer and more convenient access to the town's growing trail network. The new connection brings the Peanut Line Trail closer to Vogelsanger Park and the Harris Hill area, while allowing Northwoods residents to access trails without traveling on busy roadways. These improvements support walkability, recreation, and resident safety. Clarence also celebrated the first full year of operation of the Clarence Center Pocket Park. The Duscherer and Baker families set up the Music in Clarence Center series there, which is a popular event that draws hundreds to Clarence Center. These events help strengthen Clarence Center as a vibrant gathering place while supporting local vendors and encouraging foot traffic in the area. Accessibility and inclusion were key priorities in 2025 as well. The town, working in partnership with the Clarence Lions Club, secured grant funding for Clarence's first all-inclusive playground. Planning and fundraising continues throughout this year, laying the groundwork for a half-acre playground at Town Place Park that will provide children of all abilities with safe and engaging play opportunities. Public safety and municipal infrastructure also saw important progress. Clarence continued investments in road maintenance, equipment upgrades, and facility planning to ensure reliable services for residents. Design work began to convert the former highway garage into Clarence's first recreation center. a project that will ultimately provide indoor athletic space, program areas, and league facilities for residents of all ages. The plan is also to move events from the clubhouse, like the Arts and Crafts Show, to the larger double gym floor at the rec center. Economic development remains strong in 2025, highlighted by continued commercial growth and investment along key corridors. The arrival of Trader Joe's was a particularly notable milestone, reflecting Clarence's appeal as a destination for both residents and businesses. New development and reinvestment contributed to a strong local tax base while preserving the town's suburban character. Throughout 2025, Clarence town government remained focused on thoughtful growth, community safety, and long-term planning. From park improvements and trail expansions to economic development and recreation planning, the town continued to invest in projects that directly benefit residents today while positioning Clarence for a strong future. You're listening to Around Our Area here on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Your reader, Chuck Stevens. And let's head over to the Cheektowaga Bee now. New Cheektowaga Town Board, with a Democratic majority, takes action on highway position, sewer law, and agenda rules. The new Cheektowaga Town Board, which now features a 5-2 Democratic majority, took several actions during its first special meeting on Friday, January 2nd, including voting to reinstate the position of Deputy Superintendent of Highways, advancing changes to sewer regulations, and changing rules of procedure. First, the board approved a resolution sponsored by Councilmember Brian Pilarski and Supervisor Brian Nowak to rescind a 2023 resolution that abolished the position of Deputy Superintendent of Highways. I've seen over the past 2 years the issues we've had without having this part of the chain of command, Nowak said. In other departments, we have deputies. In other departments, we have working crew chiefs, where there's a general crew chief. Nowak said there needs to be someone to fill the middle gap. The town has not selected anyone for the role, and Nowak said there could be a situation in which someone becomes Deputy Superintendent of Highways at no extra cost to the town, provided a contract can be negotiated successfully with the Town of Cheektowaga Supervisory Unit. He said that was why he did not include a salary or stipend for the position in the resolution. Pilarski, who voted in favor of abolishing the position in 2023, said he does not support and will never support a full-time Deputy Superintendent of Highways position. Nowak also said he struggles with the idea of hiring someone to fill that role at a full-time salary with benefits. However, Pilarski said there have been times over the past 2 years when having a second-in-command in the Highway Department could have been beneficial. Highway Superintendent Richard Rusniak agreed and said the position needs to be taken care of. Republican Councilmember Vernon Thompson questioned whether someone would take on the responsibility of Deputy Superintendent of Highways without additional compensation. Pilarski responded, stating that Rick Massano served as Deputy Supervisor at no extra cost during his tenure. Thompson replied, that's a little different. Thompson suggested the board hold conversations with the Town of Cheektowaga Supervisory Unit, the labor union representing supervisory employees, before reinstating the position. Pilarski said establishing the title of Deputy Superintendent of Highways should happen first, before discussions with the union. He said that if the union agrees to fund the position in the future, but the board cannot act because the title has not been reestablished, the union could back out of the agreement, which Pilarski said has happened before. Councilmember Stephen Nowicki, a newly elected Democrat, said it is not the board's role to micromanage the independently elected highway superintendent. The resolution to reestablish the position passed 5-2, with Thompson and Republican Councilmember Barbara Bukowski voting against it. During the same meeting, the board approved a resolution to hold a public hearing on a proposed amendment to the town sewer law. The amendment, sponsored by Nowak and Nowicki, would require applicants for a building sewer connection permit to notify the town when the connection to the town's publicly owned treatment works is ready. Once the town determines the connection is necessary, the town would complete the connection. The resolution to call the public hearing passed 6-1, with Thompson casting the opposing vote. The board also approved changes to its rule of procedure through a resolution sponsored by Nowak and Pilarski. Under the changes, resolutions must be submitted to the town clerk by noon on the Wednesday prior to a regular board meeting to appear on the agenda, and no resolutions may be submitted within 24 hours of the start of a meeting. In the past, we had a deadline that resolutions had to be filed near the end of the business, Nowak said. He added that the change gives the clerk's office time to finalize and format the agenda and release it to the public before the close of business that day. Nowak said another major change concerns how late-filed resolutions are handled. Any resolution not submitted by the Wednesday deadline will be considered a late-file item and must be submitted to the town clerk, town attorney, and supervisor for consideration. The clerk must notify the board of the proposed waiver item, and the supervisor must provide written approval for it to be added to the agenda. Nowak said the change will improve communication, noting that in the past there were instances when the clerk or attorney was unaware of a late item. The supervisor has 24 hours after notification to approve or deny the item. Any item not acted upon within that time frame will be presumed approved and added to the agenda as a suspension of the rules item. If the supervisor denies a late file item, a majority of the board may overrule the decision and add the item to the agenda by notifying the full board in writing. Any resolution considered under suspension of the rules must have both a sponsoring and seconding council member. Nowak said the changes are intended to increase transparency, improve communication, and create an orderly process. He added that the suspension of the rules procedure had not previously been codified in writing. Thompson said the changes allow council members' late file items to be denied while the supervisor's submissions are not. He also said council members should not need written approval to submit resolutions, whether under suspension of the rules or otherwise, because any resolution can be voted down by the board. Next, from the Cheektowaga Bee, Cheektowaga Central to hold town hall for upcoming capital project. The Cheektowaga Central School District holding a town hall meeting in the high school auditorium regarding a proposed 2026 capital project. According to Superintendent Scott Zipp, the meeting's primary purpose is to present information to district families regarding the project, which is being referred to as Project Cornerstone 2026. Ultimately, the meeting is going to be a presentation of what the intentions are of the project if it's successfully voted on, Zipp said. The superintendent said that the district has already released materials outlining the project, including a video summary posted to their Facebook page, and that, as such, he hopes to utilize the upcoming town hall to delve further into logistics such as cost. My goal is that people can walk away educated on what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. But more importantly, I really want them to know the how, because that's what the community is usually concerned about, Zipp said. If I can accomplish those three things, people then can make an informed vote, whichever way they choose to vote. According to the video summary, Project Cornerstone 2026 aims to enhance instructional spaces as well as safety and security measures throughout the district while having a 0% tax impact on families. Zipp said that the district is currently working with the state's education department to secure a significant portion of funding for the project, a process that he plans to explain in more detail during the town hall. One of the project's centerpieces will be the reopening of the district's Pine Hill building as a 4th and 5th grade intermediate school in an effort to reduce overcrowded classrooms. This important step will relieve overcrowding in our K-3 and 6th through 8th grade classrooms and ensure that every teacher and every student has the spaces and resources they need to thrive, Zip said in the Facebook post. Other prongs of the initiative are focused on enhancing safety and security throughout district buildings for both students and staff, which will be addressed through a new entrance and main office for the high school and middle school, respectively, and new roofing and life safety upgrades. Further, the project will see the addition of a new music and chorus wing at the middle school, library and theater renovations, sports complex upgrades, and improved exterior lighting systems. Together, these improvements strengthen our facilities, support safer and more engaging learning environments, and ensure our schools are prepared for the future, Zip said in the Facebook post. Zip said that families are welcome to submit questions ahead of the meeting through a QR code on save-the-date invitations that the district is mailing out this week. Let's check in with the Cheektowaga Bee's Out of the Past column. 36 years ago, on January 11th in 1990, Elderwood affiliates of Williamsville announced plans to build a 160-bed, 70,000-square-foot skilled nursing facility on Bennett Road in Cheektowaga. The $7.6 million development would employ 176 full-time and 75 part-time workers. Completion date was slated for 1991. Despite budgetary constraints, the Cheektowaga Highway Department was able to handle the heavy snows and cold of December without any major problems. A group of parents and hockey players in the Maryvale School District told the Board of Education it favored changing the team and league setup from club to a school-sponsored and sanctioned varsity level. Mike Spider was re-elected president, and Jerry Spider, fire chief at Sloan Active Hose Company No. 1. The Cheektowaga Central Board of Education reversed a long-standing policy by choosing to offer driver education as part of its summer program through Erie One BOCES. The Price Company warehouse store at 2799 Walden Avenue received its building permit valued at over $5 million. Sean Surjek scored a basket with 1 second left in the game to give the John F. Kennedy High School boys varsity basketball team a 68-66 win over Cleve Hill. Tom Chakowski led JFK with 35 points, while Rob Coleman netted 17 for Cleveland Hill. And the Cheektowaga police reported a very quiet New Year's Eve, with only 3 town bars acquired all-night liquor licenses. 46 years ago, January 22nd of 1980, the town of Cheektowaga agreed to form a solid waste management board with several other Erie County municipalities, but the town of Lancaster opposed locating a landfill in its boundaries. Stanley Dombrowski of Bright Street, a Cheektowaga police detective, was re-elected for his 4th term as president of the William Street Taxpayers Association. Cheektowaga Central High School junior tight end defensive end Al Zyptek was named an All-New York State third-team football star. He set a school record that season with 256 receiving yards in one game. David A. Bergio of Cleveland Drive, Cheektowaga, a nursing senior at the Uville College, was named to the 1981 Who's Who among students in American universities and colleges. And way back in January 12th of 1961, 65 years ago, the Cheektowaga Improvement Association, Incorporated, was among several groups and town residents backing the creation of a ward system for town council seats. The question would appear on the November 1961 ballot. Ralph I. Miller of Mafalda Drive was appointed captain and deputy director of the Cheektowaga Auxiliary Police. Joseph Specht was elected president, and Don Zagrosi vice president of the Holy Name Society at Resurrection Church, 134 Como Park Boulevard in Cheektowaga. Paul S. Jonacki of Woodell Avenue, Cheektowaga, received a New York State Medical Dental Regents Scholarship while a student at Canisius College. You're listening to Around Our Area on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Let's turn our attention now to the Lancaster Depew Bee. The Stony Brook Legendary Lights returns to help provide kids with sleep necessities. For years, the Stony Brook neighborhood in Lancaster has come together to put together hundreds of Christmas light displays at each house to raise money for our local charity, and this past year was no exception. Stony Brook Legendary Lights, formerly known as Stony Brook Shines for others, is a holiday event from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day where Stony Brook residents light up the neighborhood for everyone to drive through, experience impressive illuminated spectacles, and give money to charity. I started to decorate my house every year when I first moved here 23 years ago, said Tony Dittmer, the organizer of the event. The neighborhood kids enjoyed it, so I continued to do it. Eventually, someone reached out with the idea to raise money for a charity through this, and I thought that was brilliant. We've been collecting money for local charities ever since. Each year, a committee of Stony Brook residents decides on a charity to support for that year's event. And this year's the choice was Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Sleep in Heavenly Peace is a nonprofit that provides sleep essentials to kids in need, including beds, blankets, pillows, and sheets. Additionally, they can provide bedding that relates to the interests of the child, such as Star Wars or Frozen-themed options. For the event, about 310 houses participated to light up their homes in support of the event and raise money for Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It is crazy to see how much this has grown over the years, said Dittmer. To think that it started with me decorating my house because I like to do it, to now having hundreds of houses in the neighborhood joining me for a good cause, it really is heartwarming. Despite some days having severe winds and other harsh winter conditions, Stony Brook residents still collected funds almost every day, and in total raised $128,271.03 for Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It is very important for us to raise as much as we can to help out those organizations, said Dittmer. It costs a lot of money to get the wood and other supplies to make a bed, and everyone who is there is a volunteer. We wanted to make sure that we could help them out as much as possible, and I think the community did a great job of coming together to do that. As a bookend to the event, Dittmer will present a check alongside other Stony Brook residents to Sleep in Heavenly Peace to officially wrap up the holiday season. This community and this event is truly something special, said Dittmer. It means the world to see everyone come together to show our holiday spirit and help out the community. Even at face value, it's such a beautiful thing to walk or drive through, and to know it is for a good cause makes it so exciting to be part of it every year. Heading into next year, the events committee officially elected Carmen Cicerelli as its new president, and he will begin his duties during the check presentation and start to look for the charity for this upcoming winter. I've been living here for about 5 years now, and it's truly a wonderful event, said Cicerelli. Going forward, I hope to continue this great tradition that this neighborhood has built, and I'm looking forward to continuing to help children in need all over the community. Our next story, the New York State DEC awards the Village of Lancaster $310,492 for DPW solar panels. The Village of Lancaster has been awarded $310,492 in grant funding from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Climate Smart Communities Program. This award will be used to install solar panels on the roof of the village's Department of Public Works building at 5200 Broadway as part of the Village of Lancaster's Renewable Energy Resilience Initiative. To receive the grant, the village will provide a 20% match in funding for the project, earmarking approximately $77,623 to invest. The board reports that the technology has a lifespan of 30 years. According to the village, these solar panels, along with a battery storage system that will also be purchased with the grant award, are expected to offset an estimated 92% of the building's electric power needs, which costs the village approximately $14,000 per year, resulting in long-term operating savings that may be reinvested in other municipal needs. The Village of Lancaster has been a climate-smart community since 2016, with the village prioritizing steps to join the statewide effort to mitigate its impact on climate change, preserve the local environment, and manage energy use more efficiently. These steps have included actions like replacing street lights with more efficient LED lighting, establishing rain gardens for stormwater management, and installing electric vehicle charging stations. The village received bronze status certification in the Climate Smart Communities program, a valuable asset on grant applications for state funding. The village reports that the combination of solar panels and battery storage will reduce the Village of Lancaster reliance on traditional energy sources, increasing the DPW's resiliency in cases of disruption to the power grid. The village's 2024 Climate Resilience Plan identified emergency preparedness as a primary opportunity in the face of data that predicts many more frequent severe weather events in the future. The village reports that this system will allow the DPW building to continue to generate power and access stored resources if needed. Trustee Gavin O'Brien, who chairs both the Grants Committee and the Climate Smart Task Force, said that this funding is another piece in the puzzle of perfecting the village's approach to ecologically friendly operations. Installing solar panels on the roof of the DPW was discussed even 4 years ago when I first joined the Climate Smart Task Force. This CSC grant opportunity was identified by Amy Stipa, the village's Climate and Sustainability Coordinator. It allowed us to figure out the smartest, most cost-effective way to achieve that long-term goal, O'Brien said. I am grateful to Amy and everyone who worked on this grant application, the residents and stakeholders who provided letters of support, and the village board who acknowledge the value in projects like this. I'm thrilled the CSC program recognizes the Village of Lancaster as a partner in the state's overall energy, sustainability, and resiliency efforts. The Lancaster Central School District is currently accepting applications for its Universal Pre-Kindergarten, known as UPK program, for the 2026-2027 school year. Based on anticipated state and federal funding, the district will offer both half-day and full-day options. This is a joint program between the Lancaster Central School District and Lancaster's UPK provider, Carousel Academy. The UPK program is available to children who will be 4 years old on or before December 1st, 2026. Children must have a custodial parent who's a legal resident of the Lancaster Central School District. Students participating in the UPK program will be enrolled in the morning from 9 to 11:30 a.m. or afternoon 12 to 2:30 p.m. or in a full day 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. session. These district sessions will run 5 days a week, a 5-day-per-week program, and follows the school district's calendar for holidays and closing. The application deadline, Friday, March 6, 2026 at 4 p.m. A lottery drawing for these programs will be conducted virtually on Wednesday, March 18, 2026 at 5 p.m. The district will notify families who enter the lottery by email 1 week before the lottery with information on how to view the lottery. Lottery results will be available at the lottery, and results will be emailed within 2 weeks. The Lancaster Central School District will not provide results by phone, U.S. mail, fax, text, or in person. If your child's name is not drawn on your application is received after the application deadline, your child will be placed on a wait list. Registration and requests for documents, including medical and home language, will be disseminated in the spring and must be completed by the deadline. Failure to do so will result in the forfeiture of your child's UPK seat and your child being placed on the wait list. Classroom teacher assignments will be shared with families over the summer. For more information, as well as the UPK application form, it can be found on the district website, www.lancasterschools.org, or call 716-686-3390. Our next article from the Lancaster/Depew Bee, from Village of Depew Mayor Kevin Peterson, the new year provides a historic milestone and upcoming summer of celebration. The Christmas and New Year's holidays are behind us, and January brings with it a fresh start, a time to reflect on where we have been and look ahead to what lies before us. This year carries special meaning as 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States. This historic milestone offers communities across the nation an opportunity to celebrate our shared history, renew civic pride, and come together as neighbors. Here in the village of Depew, that spirit of community has always been one of our greatest strengths. From long-standing family traditions to new residents planting roots and raising a family, Depew continues to be a place where people care deeply about their hometown. As we enter this landmark year in our nation's history, Depew is preparing to celebrate in a way that reflects our values, bringing people together, honoring the past, and enjoying the simple joy of community connection. One of the highlights of the summer will be our summer concert series, and we will again add a spectacular fireworks celebration on Friday, July 3rd, held at the Pavilion in Fireman's Park. This event will serve as Depew's way of marking Independence Day, while also recognizing the significance of America's 250th anniversary. Residents and visitors alike are invited to gather for an evening of live music, family fun in our great park, and a fireworks display that promises to light up the sky and our shared sense of pride. Fireman's Park has long been a gathering place for Depew residents, a setting for recreation, celebration, and cherished memories. Hosting this event at the Pavilion provides the perfect backdrop for a summer evening filled with music, laughter, and patriotic spirit. Whether you bring a lawn chair, a blanket, or simply come to enjoy the atmosphere, the July 3rd celebration is designed to be a welcoming and accessible event for all ages. There will be food trucks, and the young ones will have access to all that our park has to offer. As we celebrate, it's also worth reflecting on the meaning behind the occasion. 250 years ago, the ideals of freedom, self-government, and civic responsibility set the foundation for a nation. Over the centuries, those ideals have been tested, strengthened, and shaped by the people who live them every day. People much like those who call Depew their home. Our local history, civic involvement, volunteerism, and neighborly spirit are all part of the larger American story. The July 3rd concert and fireworks are more than just an evening of entertainment. They are a reminder of what brings us together. In a time when daily life can feel fast-paced and divided, events like this give us a chance to slow down, reconnect, and celebrate the community we share. Children experiencing fireworks for the first time, longtime residents reminiscing about summers past, and new neighbors meeting for the first time, all of these moments help strengthen the fabric of Depew. As the summer approaches, residents are encouraged to mark their calendars, invite friends and family, and take part in this special celebration. More details about the event will be shared in the coming months, but the message is clear. Depew is ready to celebrate America's 250th anniversary together. From the quiet reflection of a new year in January to the excitement of fireworks in July, 2026 promises to be a year of reflection, pride, and community. We look forward to seeing everyone at Fireman's Park on July 3rd as Depew honors the past, celebrates the present, and looks ahead to the future together. You're listening to Around Our Area here on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, and we're going to go over to the Kenton Bee now, where the Town of Tonawanda Board holds its first meeting of the year. With 2026 officially upon us, the Town of Tonawanda Board held an organizational meeting that served as the first meeting of the year on January 5th. During this organizational meeting, town officials approved many specific details that pertain to town employees and officials, including salaries, rules, meeting times, and appointments. For the town board, all of the meetings for 2026 have been scheduled to be held at 7 p.m. on January 26th, February 9th and 23rd, March 9th and 23rd, April 6th and 20th, May 4th and 18th, June 8th and 22nd, July 13th, August 3rd and 24th, September 14th and 28th, October 19th, November 9th and 23rd, and December 7th and 21st. Additionally, work sessions have been scheduled at 4:30 p.m. before each meeting of the year, and public attendance is allowed for both the work sessions and the meetings. The board then took the time to recognize individuals who were appointed to several different positions across the town of Tonawanda. Attorney appointments include Jack Marganesi as Deputy Town Attorney A, Daniel Cavarello as Deputy Town Attorney B, and John G. Schmolik as Deputy Town Attorney APT. In addition to town attorneys, the board also approved the appointment of the town engineer, Board of Ethics, Planning Board, Compensation Board, Minority Business Officer, Fair Housing Officer, ADA Compliance Officer, ADA Coordinator, Assessment Review Board, Records Management Advisory Board, Northwest Solid Waste Management Board, Youth Board, and the Town Historian. The town of Tonawanda has also been approved to enter into another year of intermunicipal agreements with several neighboring communities for several reasons regarding law enforcement. The town will enter an agreement with the Village of Kenmore regarding a joint special weapons and tactics team, as well as a joint policing of the town's municipal building. They will also enter an agreement with the town of Amherst to formalize the relationship between their respective tactical teams. Lastly, the town will enter an agreement with Erie County relative to the police department's participation in the Stop DWI contract for the entirety of 2026. Before the end of the meeting, the board approved several organizations to carry out actions and duties necessary to the town. Tonawanda will retain the services of Capital Markets Advisors, LLC, for financial advisory services related to the issuance of serial bonds or bond anticipation notes for 2026. The services of Lippes Mathis, LLP, as bond counselor for 2026 have also been retained. The town approved Bengart and DeMarco, LLP, Alyssa Lukowitz, PLLC, and Gibson, McCaskill, and Crosby, LLP, for legal services related to the defense of Article 7 proceedings brought against the town for 2026. The legal services of Goldberg Sagala, LLP, Colucci and Galler, PC, and Lippes and Matthias have been approved in connection with the town's day-to-day relations with collective bargaining, labor organizations, and related employment matters. Lastly, the town has approved the professional services of Nussbaumer and Clark Incorporated for on-call engineering services throughout the town. Some police blotter news from the Village of Kenmore. Friday, December 26, a third-party caller reported that a homeowner would be incarcerated until January 6 and was unsure if anyone was caring for the homeowner's dog. Patrol contacted an individual known to the homeowner who confirmed she had possession of the dog and that it was being properly cared for. Saturday, December 27th, a woman reported she had not heard from her brother for approximately 1 month. She stated he had type 2 diabetes and no local family to check on him. Patrol made entry into the residence through an open window and confirmed an unattended death. The caller was notified and a funeral home responded to the scene. Sunday, December 28th, the caller reported receiving a text message from her daughter stating she was going to down a bottle of Ambien. The caller was unable to reach her daughter or the daughter's roommate. Patrol made contact with the daughter, who stated she had no intent to harm herself and was experiencing difficulties with friends from the previous night. She declined assistance. Patrol noted multiple people were present at the residence. On Monday, December 29th, the man reported the smell of smoke coming from his neighbor's basement. Calling at the neighbor's request due to a possible sump pump issue, the fire department responded and found no issues inside the residence, determining the odor was caused by an arcing power line. National Grid was notified. And Tuesday, December 30th, the twin brothers, who've become regulars on the weekly police blotter the last month for their ongoing sibling rivalry, are back again this week. This time, one brother called to report the other for the serious offense of playing the TV too loudly. Patrols responded and delivered the age-old wisdom: stay in your own rooms and keep it down. Authorities are hopeful this temporary truce would last until next week's police blotter. You've been listening to Around Our Area. It's a weekly look at community newspapers from around Western New York. Your reader has been Chuck Stevens. Thank you for listening.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,